You hear a passing conversation. Kara looked at their reflection in the dark puddle as water dropped from above. Asriel sat next to them, anxiously looking at them every once in a while. Droplets fell from above and seeped into their clothes, yet the two siblings stayed sitting in silence. The prince bit his lip as he looked over to Kara once more. Their hair was matted, their eyes were red and swollen. Overall, they looked like a nervous wreck. He looked back down at the golden heart locket that they both shared. "They hate me, don't they?" Kara managed to choke out. They put their head on their knees and scooted closer to the wall as if they were protecting themselves from danger. Their bodies started shaking as they let out another sob. "I don't even know what I did, but they hate me." Asriel looked at them worryingly and scooted closer. He got in front of them and sat on his knees. The monster reached his own out and wiped the human's soft chestnut hair from their face. Kara looked up to their brother in dismay and shook their head. The human had recently discovered the ongoing fear that the monsters had developed. They had grown weary about having a human being so close with the royal family. Granted, Kara had been nothing but nice to them. However, the ongoing suspicion that developed around the underground, suspicion that the human would betray the monsters as their ancestors had done before. While this fact concerned Asriel gravely, he only forced him to think about all the good Kara had done rather than bad. "I don't even deserve you guys!" The human's breath sped up as they shot to their feet. Asriel scrambled away and flinched slightly in surprise. Kara kicked the puddle, splashing water over the two. Their breath hitched as they let out another strangled cry. "Why don't they just get me?" Asriel meekly stood up and slowly walked towards them. The silence between the two seemed dense and couldn't even be disrupted with the rain sprinkling down. "I think they're just scared, Kara," Asriel suggested, slightly breaking the tension between the two. Kara whipped around on their feet until they were face to face with the prince. Terrified crimson eyes met calming yet disturbed chocolate ones. Asriel broke eye contact and suddenly became interested in playing with the hemming on his sweater. "They're scared of what you might become," he finally clarified. Kara's eyes widened in enmity as their lips curled down into a scowl. "That makes no sense!" they hissed as their hands shaped into fists. "If everyone was so scared, why would Mom and Dad be so accepting?" Their eyes cast downwards, and they shifted away from Asriel. "I finally thought I found somewhere I belonged. I was finally doing things right, but it just backfired in my face, didn't it? Just like everything does." The child laughed dryly as they unclenched their fists. Kara lifted up their hands and stared at them. In the end, the rest of the monster kind had just been concerned. He didn't think they were scared of just Kara, rather just the human species as it was. Asriel hopelessly stood there and watched as his best friend shattered before him. The luminescent glow from the echo flowers only added to the despair occurring. Kara's hair was plastered to their face from the rain, and there were fresh tear tracks down their flushed cheeks. He looked back up to the shining stones on the top of the cave and shut his eyes. "So, don't you have any wishes to make?" His eyes snapped open as he realized Kara was gazing at him with curious wonder. He looked at them in surprise and scoffed at them. At least they seemed slightly better after releasing their anger out on Waterfall. At least they were changing the subject. As much as he tried, Asriel wasn't the best at helping others with their feelings. Kara continued to stare at him as he imagined his wish in his head. "Wish I could change out of these wet clothes," he jokingly thought. The prince's lips curled up in a grin as his eyes wandered back to the ceiling. He pondered as he tapped his chin. "If I say my wish, you promise you won't laugh at me?" Kara looked at him with mock defense. Their hand lightly roughed to their chest as they sarcastically gasped. "Of course I won't laugh!" Asriel slightly chuckled as he looked away from his sibling. He suddenly became nervous, and he softly chewed on his lip. "Someday I'd like to climb this mountain we're all buried under. Standing under the sky, looking at the world all around. That's my wish." Kara looked at him, shocked. Their eyes showed betrayal, and their lips formed a frown. The human quickly looked away and wiped tears from their eyes. A small chuckle escaped their lips, and Asriel looked at them, paranoid. His arms crossed, and he shot them a glare. Hey! You said you wouldn't laugh at it! The goat angrily clarified. He continued to mumble under his breath until he looked at Kara once more. Their frame had been shaking and they were frantically wiping tears away from their eyes. Kara looked at him and whispered, as though they were afraid someone would hear. Sorry, they apologized. It's just funny. The human gazed up to the fluorescent crystals scattered atop the cavern. Their lips parted and they revealed a large, toothy grin. That's my wish, too. You hear a passing conversation. The child stopped dead in their tracks as they observed the last flower. Standing halted in their tracks, they couldn't help but wonder the true meaning of the past conversation. Their face scrunched up in curiosity as they looked behind them. Was that what you really wanted? Realizing they wouldn't get an answer, the child continued on down the path, wondering the true story of the Wisher's intentions.